Hello everyone, a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays to you all. 'Tis I, the Witch of Paint, here with my final Christmas painting of the year. This one is a little bit special, but more on that later on. All I will say is that this is a scene involving the Catzards celebrating Christmas. For anyone who doesn't know what I mean when I say Catzard, well, it's cat wizards to put it short. They're the first characters and story I started developing during my very first Inktober on Twitch. They are essentially cats walking on two legs and they have magic. Those who have been here since then may recognize some of these characters, but it is fine if you do not. I will explain them later on when the painting is more progressed and you can see what is going on. Though that may take a while, so let's talk about Christmas or Yule or whatever this time of year is for you. Perhaps it is just another regular Sunday for you, and that's okay too. Enjoy the day regardless of what it means to you. Either way, it is Christmas Eve today, which means today, at least for Germans, we open up gifts and presents. So, as this video is coming up, I'll be having a little celebration with my own family, and it's taking a break and stuff, and opening up presents. I know it is a little strange of a concept, as in England, you open them on Boxing Day, or the 25th of December, which, as a child, or when I moved to England just about, that was a bit weird to me. Because I was so used to opening up Christmas presents on Christmas Eve and not Christmas Day. And England was also where I was introduced to the concept of the Christmas dinner, in a way. In my school they had a special kind of lunchtime Christmas dinner for you, where they would make something special and you could order one. I did it 1 year, and never again, because Brussels sprouts. I know there's some who like them, but I don't, and I found out that day. To me, Christmas is more associated with sweet things. Although Mum says that there are specific birds you eat on specific days, but I forgot which order you eat them. There's a day when you eat duck and a day when you eat goose. But we never had either. We usually stuck to things like Spekulatius and Lebkuchen and whatever other Christmas sweets and treats are being sold in German supermarkets. Hence why I still stay away from the meat on Christmas, because I don't associate a Christmas meal, although I don't think you can call it a meal when it's just sweets, I don't associate it with meat or anything like that. Plus, Spekulatius and Lebkuchen are a lot more suitable for my taste buds than Brussels sprouts, though perhaps they're also a little bit less healthy when you eat them en masse, but it's just for that one day, so it's alright. Spekulatius does have a rich history of its own. It was invented in the Netherlands, and there is an entire section of a bakery museum dedicated to just this biscuit and all the different tins and things they needed to bake. Not just Spekulatius, but other things too. Or I suppose they would call it Speculaas or something like that. I'm not very fluent in Dutch, as you may or may not be able to tell. The bakery museum where I did see that entire section dedicated to just this biscuit was the one in Medemblik, I believe. So if you're interested, I think I did leave a link down below in the description. If not, then I'm sorry that I forgot about it. You may also Google it yourselves if you feel like ever making a trip to the Netherlands to this one specific museum. It is very cute. And I'm not sponsored by them, I just felt like mentioning them because I love that bakery museum. Traditionally, Spekulatius biscuits have images on them that tell the story of St. Nicholas. At least the ones that are made in the traditional way with the traditional images. But I think the ones we ended up getting for this year from the supermarket ended up not being those. Like, nowadays, I know I recognize the windmill. That is very, very prominent in the ones that we have access to at the moment. And then there's also an elephant and a swan. And only one of them kind of could be St. Nicholas with a bag of probably treats and gifts and whatnot. So, well, if you ask me, an elephant, a swan, and a windmill don't have much to do with St. Nicholas's story unless I'm somehow missing something here. But it's probably more likely that through time, because the biscuits were so expensive, because spices that weren't required for these biscuits are expensive, or were expensive when they were, starting to get popular, so they would be more popular with the rich people, and so eventually they decided to deviate from St. Nicholas's story and be a little bit more exotic by putting an elephant and a swan on one of them. Oh, I don't know, it sounds really weird to me. Why not just keep St. Nicholas's... Okay, fine, you know what? People are creative. Just let them be. I'll just let them be. There's still a lot more about Christmas that is nostalgic to me, aside from the biscuits, and also aside from celebrating Jesus' birthday, because I don't believe in that whole thing there. But it is still a nice time for families to come together, have a special meal. I know a lot of other people will have a proper meal that day, but Christmas Eve is one of those days where we eat sweets, and a lot of them. And of course, you sing songs together, at least my family does. And then there's the gift giving, which is one of those things that little kids look forward to the most, probably during Christmas, because, sweets are great and everything, and the food is nice that you have, on Christmas Day or Eve or whenever, but gifts are the best. Especially if you get something you wished for who knows how long. And because of the gift opening on Christmas Eve, or perhaps Christmas Day for you English folks, I decided we are drawing Christmas with the Catzards. An evening of chaos as they open up the Christmas presents they have gotten for each other. Starting from the bottom left in the armchair, we have Randolphe, then his wife, the reindeer Therese in the purple dress, then Theodolphe, who's giving his mother a gift, or was planning to at the very least. On the floor, rolling around from laughter, we have Adeline, then Annabelle, the girlfriend of Theodolphe, sitting right underneath the tip of a Christmas tree, where the star is going to fall on her. Coming through the tree there is Rodolphe, the father of Theo, who's also a ghost. Lastly, sitting right atop of the tree, causing it to bend dangerously above the floor, we have Salina, the little cat that is always a little bit salty. I can already hear her calling for her mum because I'm putting her in this precarious situation. Sorry, but I thought it would be funny. Plus, with the way these characters are, Christmas Eve was bound to end up being like this, right? Chaos. I do love chaos sometimes. Plus, as you may be able to tell, I also took this as an opportunity to drop in little things and references to old paintings of mine, most of them from this year. Actually, they're all from this year, kind of. Though, of course, there are also some references to me as a person and to perhaps someone close to me. Just as a small little hint. But if you have followed me long enough, you'll spot those references as well. The people on my Discord did get a little bit of a head start with it, but not everything has been found yet. So, if you feel like you know some of the things I've hidden in here, feel free to comment them down below. I can't wait to see what you're all going to spot. I've always been fond of treasure hunts. It kind of reminds me of those days where we would scavenger hunt on our birthdays and look for our own presents. It was very fun. In the next video I'll tell you what I hid and where, but for now, just know that there are hidden things. This may be the last painting I do this year. I will do another video, but it will be a slightly different setup and topic, kind of. Still art related, but since in the week between Christmas and New Year's I will be spending more time with my family, So I'd like to just slightly backtrack from YouTube and also Twitch for that week. As I said, there's still going to be a video next week, just a different one to what I usually do on this channel. Anyways, with that out of the way, I spent a lot of time on this painting, even more than on the one I did for the Autumn Fairy Tea Party thing. How long, you ask? Well, if we take away the time it took for all the layers to dry, 6 hours. Though that was mostly because I put in so many details for the treasure hunt. So the sketch took longer because I kept looking at it, then deciding I could also add this or that, and oh my goodness, there's an empty spot there, I can put something there. And I would have probably kept going if it wasn't already starting to be the end of the time I could spend on that sketch. But it's fine. Though I started getting a little tired and lost track of things, like I didn't add underpaintings everywhere, which I suppose I didn't really have to, at least not in the less important areas. For most areas though, I remembered to add underpaintings in different colours. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, some carmine and permanently violet. You know, the standard colours I tend to use for underpaintings. In some areas though, things got too dark. And when I, for example, tried to paint in Adelina, she ended up green and not yellow, and she is supposed to be a yellow cat. So I picked up my palette of dried up gouache and started adding lighter yellow colours so she'd look a lot less, well, green and a little bit lighter, because there is lighting coming from the chandelier above them and probably from some other lamps as well. I don't really know, but that is the main light source. I also used the gouache for all the areas where I felt that it was necessary, because I sometimes forgot that the chandelier was the light source, and with the little kinda garland, I kinda shaded it in a little bit wrong, because I didn't consider the placement of the candles and how the light was going to be affecting them, but it's okay. I sort of kind of tried to fix it in the end with the gouache. Plus that gouache has been on that palette for a while now, so I really had to start trying to use it up a little bit at least. Has this helped? A little bit, I suppose. It's still pretty full, but I don't want to just rinse it all off. To me, that feels like wasting some good gouache paint. That does still do its job as intended, as you can tell by the painting. So should really make a gouache painting at some point, but only using the paints that are still left on the palette, because one, it would be challenging, and two, adding new paint to it would end up being a cycle at the end of which I will still have too much paint left over on the palette. Something I already have with my watercolours, though it's not as much of a problem with those since they are regularly used, but my gouache palette isn't regularly used, so yeah. Well, even though it was taking me quite a while, this is a Christmas painting, and you know very well what that means. Glitter! Well, what were you expecting? It's my favourite thing after all, to whip out my metallic watercolour paints and paint over everything that needed a little bit of a sparkle. The chandelier, for example, or in the tinsel, a little on the bows, and the garland kind of thing. I didn't go crazy with it. I mean, I was still rather tired, especially at the end of the day, but if I want sparkle, I will get my sparkle. Sparkle all the way. Oh, right, I added the trees in the windows, and those also got sparkle on them, because obviously the snow is going to be sparkling regardless of how dark it is outside. Then, finally, I could find a spot to sign the painting, take off the tape, and bother the people on my Discord with a treasure hunt picture that would both delight and annoy them just a little bit. I love you guys so much. Technically, this is my first ever treasure hunt kind of painting / video. There is no reward, but take this as my Christmas gift to all of you folks, because you subscribed to the channel, and I'm very thankful for that, because it tells me that people like my videos and that there are at least some people out there interested in what I do, which is a good feeling. Now, let's move on to the final result, shall we? Did this take a lot of time? Yes. Was it frustrating at times? Maybe. Do I regret putting so much time and effort into it? Absolutely not. It's awesome and cute, and I absolutely love this whole drawing and all the details I managed to get in there. The colours are pretty, they work together well, and I love the overall composition of the scene. The chaos it has, the little things lying around, it feels like it could be a room I could be stepping into, and I'm happy that I got that. Right. Now it's your turn. Can you find all my hidden painting references and also references to other things that may have been mentioned on the channel? Comment them down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to the channel and give the video a like if you want. Check out my social media links down below, and perhaps take a look at my Twitch channel for live streams, in the new year that is. For the time being, Merry Christmas! I am the Witch of Paint, and I shall see you all next Sunday. Bye! Ho, ho, ho! Look who's made it to the end of the video. Well done to you. Of course you're here for the outtakes, so don't let me hold you up. Here they are. Have fun. It was invented in the Netherlands. That's where I am. Though of course, there's not just. I'm not sure what you would call it. Girlande. Oh goodness.